Hey Jillian, I'm just here to, and Daniel, I'm just here to observe. I'll keep my camera off and my mic off, but I just wanted to say hi, and I'm going to be here. This sounds like an interesting meeting.
Huh. Hi, Carrie. This is Danu.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. Actually, I would like if you introduced yourself as our new liaison to PARAB.
Okay,
Yeah, thank
then let
you.
me let me try to see if I can get my camera working.
Okay, okay.
So I'll fiddle with that.
Alrighty.
But it does sound like an interesting meeting today.
Danu, do you want to get started?
Yeah, I could, Jillian. I was gonna see if either Chris or Colin will join us. Oh, Colin's here. Okay. Yeah, let's get
Yep.
started. And Chris can just jump in whenever.
Yeah, I'm letting Chris in right now.
Oh, excellent. Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Hi, everybody. Hey, Danu. Happy New Year.
Hey, you too, Colin. Okay, I'd like to call the special meeting to order at 6 o'clock on January 12th. Um, Anthony Wood and Rebecca, I'm sorry, Anthony Lane and Rebecca Wood have excused absences. And joining us tonight, we have a couple new folks. We have a potential new member for PARAB, maybe. And Jahan, if you don't mind introducing yourself.
Hi, everyone. Happy to be here. My name is Jahan, and I moved to Manitou Springs at the end of 2021. I've been here, obviously, in that time. I have my own business. I've won a couple of awards in the Colorado Springs and nationally, and I work in tech, so we train teachers how to use technology in the classroom, and I'm also a product manager for a New York City-based ed tech company. But moved to Manitou, fell in love with it. I was living in Denver for about 5 years before this, and then I say I'm from Philly. I claim Philly and the sports teams sometimes, unfortunately, but I've moved and lived all over, lived and traveled all over the world. So I don't really actually have a hometown. I just like to claim Philly. But I moved to Colorado, loved it, especially the outdoors, the parks. So very happy to be here.
Oh, great, thanks, Jahan.
Of course.
Um, could you just talk a little bit about your why you might be interested to join the Park and Rec Advisory Board?
Yeah. So I will say, first of all, that I do think community parks are an indicator of community health. So well maintained and therefore well attended parks, again, indicator of community health. And it became a little personal to me because I tore my Achilles and playing volleyball. I turned 40 and just ripped it right in half on the first day I played volleyball in like 10 years. I just remember the ER doctor was like, "How old are you? Did you stretch? We see you all every weekend." But yeah, I tore my Achilles, and from my bedroom window, you can see, Pikes Peak, the incline. And I was like, if this was a movie, I would say that as soon as I could walk again, I'd be up that trail. But it wasn't a movie, and so I set my sights on the trails and the parks in town, and it was really a brutal recovery. I'm not gonna make that up, but I honestly feel like Manitou was a huge part of my healing process, and just being able to feel like I can go to these parks, I can walk around in such a beautiful area. It was just so healing for me. So I would love to be a part of, I want to get involved in the community in any way, in any capacity. But this kind of spoke to me just because it was such an integral part of my healing journey and still is, honestly. So that's one reason. And I also, like I said, I just want to be a part of giving back to this community that has held me up for so long. So
All right, great. Thank you, Jahan.
you're welcome.
And also, tonight we have our new city council liaison, Carrie Storm. Carrie, you want to introduce yourself to what few of us para people are here?
Hi, y'all. Hey, Colin. Nice to see you. Um, so I'm Carrie Storm. I was just sworn in last week for my 4-year term. I'm the Ward 2 council person, and I am your liaison to the council. So I'm happy to be here. I'm just here to listen to what's going on. I'm not going to participate in any way, but I'll keep my camera off and my mic off, but I just wanted to say hello and I'm looking forward to listening to what's going on. Thank you.
Great, thank you very much. Also tonight we have in attendance Colin McAllister and Tim Bresnahan and Christina Ho. And also from Hort Copeland and Mock, we have Mia Reckesons and Robin Bartling from Hort Copeland and Mock. And so with that, could I get somebody to approve our agenda tonight?
I will approve the agenda.
Great, Colin. And could I get a second?
Great. I'll second that motion. Thanks, Colin.
Great. Thank you, Tim. Thank you, Tim. And Julian, I believe you graciously volunteered to take our minutes for tonight.
I did. I'll be taking minutes.
Okay, great. Thank you, Julian. All right. Is everybody all in favor of the agenda approval? Say aye or raise your hand or whatever. Tim and Chris, is that okay with you? The agenda?
Absolutely.
Okay, great. Chris?
It's good. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good with me. I'm driving, so I'm not going to participate for a little bit till I get home.
Okay. Yeah. Good call. Okay, with that, I'd like to move on to our presentation from Hort Copeland and Mock. Robin and Mia, will you please take over?
Yes, we will. And Danu, I just want to say you got me his last name correct. So
Perfectly pronounced.
nice
Thanks, Danu.
job.
I'm trying to work on it, you know?
It's a
I mean, I
tough
have a
one. It's a
difficult
tough
name
one.
too, so yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
tonight we are really at this point we're at design development for Soda Springs Park Phase 3. So we were just going to share an update on that. And I think our question was um we were wanted to ask, do you want us to share an update of what things have changed since we presented to you the beginning of December, or would you like us to share the entire plan of where it is design wise for tonight?
Uh, Tim, Chris, Colin, any opinions?
I'm here to go with the
Well, no.
flow.
Go with the flow.
Go, go with the flow. We're happy
Um,
to do either, but we just wanted to, um, you know, be be in keeping with what makes sense. So
okay. Well, why don't you, well, let me ask my guests. Jahan and Carrie, do you want a little bit more detailed explanation, or can you just sort of jump on board as to the changes that were made to the construction drawings since we last met with Hort Copeland and Mock in December?
Maybe like a high level sentence or two just to, kind of ground it or frame it in some context, and then just updates are great.
Yeah, I think
okay,
just updates. I don't want to make everybody sit through trying to get us up to speed. It wouldn't be a good use of time. But thank you for asking.
Yes, of
sure.
course. Okay, there you
Yeah, no
go.
problem. So yeah, we in early December we were about at kind of schematic design, light deep design development, and so basically what we've done since then is just really work with our consultant team. We walked the site with some of the city folks, and we took some feedback from there, and we've incorporated it into the design. And the next phase, the next step will be completing the construction documents, which is in February. We'll have those done. And basically, at that point, you'll have a package that, when you're ready with funding, we'll be able to go out to bid to contractors. And this is just for our new folks. Really, this is phase 3 of Soda Springs Park. So this is the last phase of the project, and that includes basically restoring or kind of a new lawn in front of the pavilion, and then improvements on the east side of the park. So basically between the pavilion and the restroom building, and really looking at adding amenities into that space that activate the park. Right now, there's not a lot going on there. So that's what phase 3 entails. So with that, and right now we're taking the drawings through construction documents. Funding has not been allocated. I think Jillian, make sure I'm not misspeaking there. But once it would be, these would be ready to go ahead and bid and get a contractor on board for construction.
You're correct, Robin.
Okay. So with that, Mia, I'll let you go
Sure.
ahead and hit some of the highlights
Yeah,
from the
and
changes.
absolutely. So this is, like Robin said, this is our phase 3 100% design development package. It's a little less pretty in colors than we presented the last time, which was our SD 50% DD package. But we are moving forward with our consultants, getting a little bit more technical, making sure everything is being graded appropriately, and making sure materials are called out and we're getting more into the nitty-gritty of the design. So I'm going to just really quickly scroll through our civil drawings so we can get right to our site materials uh, package portion of the set. But the just so you're aware, this is our demolition plan, kind of calls out what's to be protected, existing trees to be protected, existing site features from phase 2 to be protected, and then what is basically getting demolished in preparation for all of the new proposed elements of phase 2. Um, this demolition plan shows the east portion, calls out which boulders need to be relocated, which walls need to be taken out, and what flagstone pavers need to be preserved, and portions of old concrete or curbs that need to be taken out. So we'll just kind of skim through these really quick. Grading plan, there we've been working with our civil engineer to make sure all of the grades where the new sod is going to be installed is ADA accessible. We have new accessible Crusher Finds walks that are connecting through the center of the park. And so we're making sure all of that is graded appropriately. We have some new connections with Crusher Finds walks from the bridge, the south portion of the site. These are not ADA accessible, but we have worked with the team to make sure that signage is identifiable to pedestrians in this area to make sure that there are accessible routes in other locations of the park. New things that are kind of uh, new for the DD set that weren't in the previous set when we walked the site with the civil engineer and some of the city team. We talked through this entry portion and understood really the concerns about water collecting at the existing pavilion and worked with the civil team to make sure that we installed trench drains at both entrances. So that's a new piece that wasn't there before, as well as reducing the amount of concrete being replaced, which is basically just to make sure that that trench drain gets installed and then the grades are a little bit less steep in that area. So that's a new piece from previously. Also, in the existing site, there are some pavers that are lined up in a row along the east corner of this pavilion. We're basically removing them and relocating them as part of this rain garden edge, which is going to be a nice little feature. There are some existing pavers in that corner that we're salvaging as well, that we're kind of adding to that wall. So we have addressed a lot of the concerns in regards to drainage along both the north and the south sides of that pavilion. Additional grading, we walked the site from corner to corner. There were some things that we needed to work through on this east portion in making sure that our accessible route into the park did not impact existing utilities that we noticed while we walked the site. So this little curb wall moved a little bit in order to make sure we weren't impacting any of those utilities. Still very similar to what was shown before, but just pointing out that these were some of the things that we caught on site. Grading, we wanted to make sure any water collection, everything's moving kind of in the southern direction. So we worked with civil to make sure that we were capturing some of the grades coming from the north to the south and draining into this planting bed. Very minimal amount of water coming from that north to south area, but just making sure it doesn't collect and pool along that new curb planting bed area. We also worked with civil to make sure the grades with this new walkway, Crusher Finds walkway, it's basically it's a non-accessible route. The accessible route is up and around this area, but knowing that people are going to cut through here, we created a non-accessible. It's a little on the steep side, but still people will be using this area. So it's a 12% slope. But there will be additional signage to point people in the direction of where the accessible routes are. Okay, let's jump to erosion control. I won't talk too much about this, but Civil definitely dove deeper into erosion control, making sure we don't have any erosion as construction is happening throughout the site and protecting the Fountain Creek area. Same with the east side. And then here's sort of our overall landscape and site materials plan. And I'm just going to jump right into some of the new things I'll point out on this west side. In walking the site, we noticed that the existing little mosaic bench that was north of the pavilion, um, we, with the new cobble swale that's going on the north side of that pavilion, we decided maybe it would be better to relocate that one to this seating area directly in front of the pavilion where performances would be happening. People would be utilizing that more. Plus, it's a really beautiful bench, so we thought that's almost kind of an art piece identifier in this little plaza space. So we moved that little bench here, and we've also added a little concrete step up into the playground that wasn't there before. So this was, as we were walking the site, it felt like it needed to be there with the Crusher Fines walkway sort of dying into the curb. And I have a photo in later drawings to show what that looks like now. But um, this felt like a really nice little step up for uh, just pedestrians being able to access the playground. New Crusher Fines walkways, like I mentioned earlier, some boulder seating, and then everywhere, kind of in these big white blob spaces, will be the new sod. And then on the east side, we have a couple new features. We have some scooter parking next to the bike racks along the back side of the pavilion. We also have been working with our 3D rendering team to work through the design of this bench feature that's made to be inspired by sort of an eddy and the incline sort of mixed together in this inspirational little art piece slash bench seating area. So this is in the works. We don't have current 3D renderings of this, but just so you know, in the next meeting that we have, we'll have some great images to share of that. Um, new things here. We, like I mentioned earlier, we've been working with our civil team to make sure everything's nice and accessible. Um, we have noticed that there was some cracked concrete over by the existing restroom building. So we walked the site and identified where that needs to be replaced. So it's a nice, accessible walkway through that space. So we've added a little bit of new concrete in replacing the old concrete. And then instead of adding a new concrete curb, we were going to salvage boulders that are existing on the site and just create a little boulder curb behind this new bench over by the restrooms as well. We also, I'll show this on a later sheet, but we've been working with our electrical engineers on bollard designs, and we've also been working with our sort of fencing team designs to kind of make sure we have, instead of a chain and bollard design here, we have more of a swing gate. And that was not only a more of a visual nice appeal to the park, but it will be better for the maintenance team and a little clearer for pedestrians where they should be and should not be walking. I think that's mostly the new features of this area. We have been tweaking some spaces just to make sure things are really nice and clean. Radiuses are nice and smooth throughout the park. So we've been working just to kind of finesse and make sure things are um, nice and well designed. Couple things that I mentioned earlier. We have our flagstone stepper details, so we'll be updating those to make sure we have both the salvaged flagstone steppers and the new steppers clearly identified on the plans. We worked a little bit more on this cobble rock swale on the north side of the pavilion. Um, Here's sort of that vehicular swing gate that I mentioned earlier, just a nice, clean, simple design. Here's that little step up with an image just for reference of what that kind of looks like to get pedestrians up into that playground space. And here are some of those landscape pavers that I mentioned that we're salvaging, kind of digging those up and making more of a rain garden curb around the planting for that rain garden. The bench that we're going to relocate. We're working more closely with the manufacturer of these dumpster panels for the fencing just to make sure things are sized correctly and that everything is nice and functional for that area. And here's a page of our site furnishings, a lot of different things that are kind of in progress. Like I mentioned, our wood plank seating is in progress. We're kind of finessing the little details of that, which we'll be showing in the construction documents. We've been working with Chainsaw Mama, the specialty chainsaw artist who carves these amazing little sculptures, and we've been coordinating with her on the different types of pieces and animals that would go on there. Um, Many of our site furnishings are kind of shown from before, but the e-scooter rack is new, so we've added those scooter racks in there, allow for additional parking for those. Building upgrades, both the architect and electrical engineer have been working together on updating the electrical plan and making sure all of the light replacements on the stage on the interior of the pavilion are nice and coordinated. We also worked with the architect to make sure downspouts are all going into the right directions and collecting water in the right ways. And Civil has been making sure drainage wise, the water is being taken um, off site. Our overall grading plan is very similar to what we've already kind of seen from the Civil drawings, so I'll just glaze over those. It just kind of calls out boulder seat heights and heights of the step and making sure that things are just placed appropriately. And this will get a little bit more detailed in the construction documents, especially for the walls on the site. Soils plan, this just shows exactly where the different types of soil, topsoil depths, and where those different depths occur for the sod areas, the planting beds, and then wherever the tree, we have a new tree that's getting planted as well, so that shows where that location is. Planting plan, we have a plant palette, and in the construction documents, we'll show an actual plant plan where the plants are actually called out and identified. But right now we have a palette with hatches that show exactly where the planting beds are and where the sod is going. We did get our soil amendment tests back. A few months ago, we went on site and collected soil samples at various locations throughout the site, and we got those results back from CSU, and the recommended amendments were included in the specifications. And same on this side, just showing where exactly the plant beds are going and which amendments are needed. Irrigation, we do have an update on where their irrigation heads are going for the sod and the planting beds. Some of their details. And then for electrical, there's just a really simple plan right now to show exactly where the existing light poles are. as well as the new lighted bollards are along the south portion of the eastern side of the park, and a couple new um, larger pedestrian poles as well for additional lighting and safety. This electrical plan shows exactly the updates for the stage lighting. So there's um, some existing panels, but also some new lights that are a lot nicer than what's currently out there. So it has directional lighting, and the specs for those are called out in the keynote legend. We do have an image of what those pedestrian little 4 foot tall light bollards would look like. And we kind of went back and forth on a lot of different options, but this is the one that we landed on. It's uh, very sturdy and vandal resistant and produces a nice minimal amount of glow just for some pedestrian walkway safety lighted options. So we liked the cleanliness of this, and it was kind of cute and artful. So we thought this would fit really nicely within the park. And that is our DD set. And I know I kind of flew through a lot of those pages, but let me know if you want me to go back to anything and explain anything in more detail, or if you have comments or questions. Or if you need a minute to digest it all. I can hop
Comments,
back
Parag?
over.
Does anybody, I like it. Anybody else from Parab? Feedback? Thoughts?
I think things look in line with our discussion of the last meeting. I like what I see. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Mia. Looks good.
And Mia, you might have mentioned this during the presentation. Is there also going to be a rendering without the dumpster enclosure? Or is that just, I guess once it's time for construction, that could easily just not be put in and then we figure something out at that point?
Jillian, we could, sorry, me, I'll hop
Oh
in
yeah,
there.
sure.
What we can do, Jillian, is we can show the dumpster enclosure as an alternate so that we have a condition of basically what it would be if there isn't in the drawings. That would be easy enough to do.
Okay, thanks. I think my internet connection is spotty, but I gather what you're saying.
Yeah, we'll show a scenario with and without the dumpsters, just to clarify that for the construction documents. We'll definitely get that added in, no problem.
Okay, any other
Yeah.
comments for Mia and Robin?
Okay.
Great. Yeah, we're still plugging away, and we'll keep coordination going with our consultants, and we look forward to jumping into construction documents.
I have just one question, Robin.
Sure.
You know how I was curious about the cost breakdown to try to do this phase 3 in different phases?
Mhm.
I was wondering, did I see a cost estimate come through for that west side of phase 3 where the sod is and the irrigation? Did I see that come in at around $180,000?
Um, I don't have that in front of me at the moment.
Give us 1 second.
Yeah, one second. I'm trying to pull it up here. Yeah, a little over. It's around 186 is what we have on there for that.
Okay.
Good memory, Danu.
Yeah, really good memory.
All right, anybody else? And Jillian, I'm sorry I didn't announce you as being present at our meeting, so my apologies to you.
That's okay. I put myself on the minutes, Danu.
Okay, thanks. Thanks. All right, should we move on to our next portion of discussion and next steps around this project? It seems like right now the biggest hindrance is finding the funding to make it happen. And so that was one of my um, reasoning for wanting to try to separate this up into phases that perhaps when we can find funding, we can finish phase three in different phases, starting with completion of that west side in front of the pavilion. So, um, I guess I guess that would be PARAB's next steps is to explore where we could find that funding and figure out the time frame of what would work best for, doing that whole piece of construction. How long do you think that would take to do that one piece of construction with the irrigation, the sod removal, the sod amendments, and then laying the sod, and then putting in all the pathways and crusher fines?
I'm gonna estimate 3 to 4 months.
Okay.
I'd estimate quicker, Danu, but the first two phases didn't go quicker, so I don't want to do
No,
that. It
understood.
could go faster, but I don't want to say
It,
that.
no, yeah, it's pretty rare for these construction projects to, move faster, so
Yeah.
okay. All right. Is there anything else that anybody would like to discuss or talk about?
Danu, I just want to give a plug for the March 10th City Council meeting. So we will
Thank you.
have Robin and Mia presenting the full design plan for phase three at that meeting. And it would be fantastic for PARAB to have some representation there. I'll be there. And I know council's probably going to ask what's our desired timeline for implementation of this plan. So it would be good to just do some brainstorming before then and just be ready to answer any questions from council.
Okay.
Sounds like we should probably make further discussion a priority at our next at our strategic planning meeting. I don't think it would need to take a lot of time, but going through a breakdown and thinking about a timeline and prioritization for where we want to start projects will probably be helpful to inform our participation in that meeting and further recommendations.
Okay. Yep. Thanks, Tim. Okay, anybody else? Well, if not, then I would make the motion to adjourn this meeting, our special meeting. Are there any questions from Carrie or um
No questions from me, Danu. It was interesting to walk through it. It looks like it's gonna be great. I hope we can find the money.
yeah, yeah. Um looking at my notes here. And then Jahan, do you have any questions or comment?
No, I don't. It was just really interesting to walk through, and it looks like it's going to be great.
Okay. All righty, great. Okay, then I have a motion to adjourn our meeting. Do I get a second?
Second the motion, Danu.
Thanks, Colin. All right. So our special meeting will be adjourned, and just a special reminder that we're going to have our in-person meeting on February 2nd at the Manitou Arts Center, and we'll start at 5:30, and we'll do our strategic planning session then. And Carrie, you're welcome to join us as well as you too, Jahan.
Thank you.
Okay?
Sounds great. Thanks,
All
everyone.
right.
It was great to meet
All
you.
right, thank you.
Nice to meet you guys and
Bye,
good to
everyone.
see
Thanks, everyone.
all of
Thanks,
you
Mia. Thanks,
guys.
Robin.
Thank you, Mia
Thank
and
you.
Robin.
Yeah, thank you, thank you.
Bye.